You are now listening to EarGround Radio. New voices amplified.
Watu wote waende nje, watu wote waende nje. Good evening. Welcome to EarGround Radio. And tonight we're going to be speaking to Vusa Mkhaya. Mr. Mkhaya. I'm good.
Yes,
good.
sir.
Welcome to EarGround.
You're good. I'm trying to.
Oh, okay.
Fix
No, it's
this.
fine.
Wait, one moment.
Yes, I think we're
record?
good to go. Can you hear me well? Okay.
Yes, I hear you
Great.
loud and clear.
And yeah, thank you so much for joining EarGround. It's always an honor to get a guest because we know most artists are busy and it's a Saturday night. Welcome to EarGround.
My pleasure. Thank you for the invitation.
So we just get straight into it. I think for some that don't know who Vusa Mkhaya is, some could be familiar with you more from the skits back in the days, but some know you from the musical side, some know you, from various facets. Who's Vusa Mkhaya in a short?
Vusa Mkhaya is an artist from Bulawayo, singer, songwriter, and performer. But I just prefer to call myself an artist.
And where did your journey into showbiz, into arts, into entertainment start?
My journey started in primary school.
Which school was this?
Bulawayo, singing in the school choir. Matlabezulu Primary School in Chabalala Township.
Wow, I was not even born.
You see, and
I was born the next year. Yeah.
I am old. In 1981, grade 1 in Chabalala. And in the 3rd grade, I joined the junior school choir, not the junior school choir, it was called the KG choir back then, and then the junior school choir. So I've been singing and doing drama in school since primary school. Yeah. And then secondary school I did also in Chabalala Township. I sang the Scripture Union Choir and we started our Imbobe choir. Then, singing in school and also different gatherings around. And I never looked back since then.
And you are part of Insingizi. Are you a founding member or you joined the group?
I joined the group, but in the beginning stages, I was with my school group, and we met at an event organized by the Ministry of Culture, Education and Culture. So I knew the guys because some of them came from the same neighborhood as me. And when I finished school, I joined them. This was in 1991.
Okay. I was already in school by then. Yeah. And your first international performance, your first performance outside Zimbabwe, where was it? What happened for you to make it?
Our first international performance outside Zimbabwe was in 1995 in Austria. We were touring Austria for 2 months, and then we did Denmark and Slovenia. This was a cultural exchange program. So we did a lot of workshops, a lot of performances, And the highlight of that tour was opening for the Leningrad Cowboys. They were big back then doing the rock music. I think they're from Finland. And then we met Vusa Mkhaya. Yes. And we were kids having fun. And yeah. And then we met Mkhaya as well, by the way. Yes, on that tour, yes.
And he was like, oh,
yeah.
now you're the second
First
international group. I know.
No, he said, I don't know if I hope I'm not getting in trouble. He said, I like you guys because, you do you make things happen, and now you are here. There was an advert then, if you know, where some guys were singing inside a place. It was there international. It was a big group. I think 2 year research, you know.
I think I know the
name. So he said, I like musicians who make things happen. You are young and you are now already touring. I cannot quit a silver me one in Babaka, This was my first interaction with Thomas. My first impression.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And from that year, I presume the rise was unstoppable. Like you guys continued touring after tour after tour after tour. What was the experience like?
I mean, that year, like I said, we were young. We learned a lot of things. When we start performing at international festivals, keeping time, sound check, and making sure that you are backstage on time, ready for your call. It was a learning experience for us, and we gained a lot. And then after that, we went back to Zim, and things changed because we had a song that was called Sugar Did. This was during the AIDS pandemic. I mean, this was big in Bulawayo and Matabeleland, and so another tour came up, and another tour, and another tour, and yeah, things just went on and on from there.
And now, when you started touring, what did this mean for your community? For in two parts, like where you grew up, and also the community of artists around you that it started to see now touring. What did it do to that community?
I think, most of our people, or parents, prefer their kids to study, to become a teacher, a doctor, or a lawyer or something. And it was not easy in the beginning because when you tell your parents that you want to become a professional musician or you want to study music, they really don't understand because there are not so many people around that influences. Yes, there were so many musicians that were famous, but then if you look at what they did in their lifestyle, very few parents will say, go ahead and be a musician and be like so and so. So for us, most of us, we tried our best to be good examples so that when other kids want to become artists, we become the examples and parents say, go ahead and do it and be like so and so. And for our community, it was a good thing because every time we came back home, we did projects and met young people and started and shared our story. And then encourage also those who are talented to go on and pursue this talent.
Great. And
and for other musicians, of course, it was an inspiration because most people I mean, we're performing a lot around Bulawayo, and there's so many musicians who want to go out and perform and make a living. So when you see some of your peers doing it, you know that you are not in the wrong direction, because we also have people that paved the way for us. People like Black Mfolosi, they went on tour before us. Sunduza went on tour before us, and Mkhaya went on tour before us. But from Bulawayo, Black Mfolosi and Sunduza mostly that way, and Amakosi, of course.
And looking at the groups that went ahead of you, and then you with your group, I can see there's a pattern. A lot of them were doing Imbuge. What do you attribute the international acceptance to? Do you think it had to do with the kind of music that you guys are doing? And did it have any connection to possibly the recognition that Lady Smith Beck Mlambazo had? And how would you explain
that? I think, to be honest, you cannot go to the Eskimos and try to sell them snow when you come from Africa.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
You know what I mean? So the music was different, is different from what people were used to. And we're just being ourselves. Music is authentic, and we don't try to imitate anyone, because if we try, then we become a copy. We become a copy. Why must they book a copy of someone else or a copy of the original? And I think the reason why these groups went on tour and they're still going on tour is because they are being themselves, and they do music that really speaks to a large demographic, even though it's in a different language. You see groups like Mukumba or Chioneso, even Oliver Mtukudzi. And all these groups have something in common. They all play live music. No DJ sets, no playback, nothing. Everything's live, authentic. And if you travel around performing at festivals, you'll find out that most of these venues prefer live music. Yes, we have other places that accommodate DJs, and like DJ Black Coffee is touring a lot in Europe, where DJs play and also playback. But if you perform like in major festivals, mostly world music festivals and so on, they prefer live music, authentic music. And I think this is the reason why most of these groups were touring and are still touring.
And I'll try and walk the thin ice a bit, but I think it's unavoidable. Do you think that there is enough recognition and appreciation of your music, or in Zimbabwe?
No, I mean, at the moment, to be honest, we all know if you don't do Zim dance hall and you don't do Zim hip hop, you don't have any big chance, especially on our national radios. And if you don't sing in Shona, I can just say that if you don't sing in Shona, you don't do hip hop or Zim dance hall, you can just forget. This is how it is. I mean, we saw Bekezela. He just won the Summer Award with Candy. And tomorrow, I'm the one who said he's verified. And tomorrow, he will be on national radio, just because he has won an award in South Africa now. But it's not so easy.
Wow, yeah.
And we cannot all sing in Shona. We cannot all sing Zim dancehall. You know what I mean? We cannot all sing hip hop.
So what do you think needs to be done to fix that and start getting more content, more music also from other regions? Because it's not only Ndebele, but possibly people that also speak Tonga. We see with Mokomba.
We have Sky is Metro FM. But I think they broadcast, they have a 40-kilometer radius. If they can broadcast nationally, we have Breeze FM in Victoria Falls. And someone in Bulawayo cannot tune in to Breeze FM. So I think the first thing to be done is to open these radio stations for everyone. Because if you have Breeze FM in Vic Falls, then you can have groups singing in Tonga, groups in Vic Falls and the surroundings. They can be heard also in Bedbridge and in Harare and everywhere else. And listeners can then choose what they want to listen to. But if you have Star FM and ZFM and what
Radio
else?
Zimbabwe and National FM, yeah.
Broadcasting nationally in Radio Zimbabwe. And we have Nyami Nyami in Kariba, I think, and some other station in Maswingo, all not broadcasting nationwide. I think it's not right. I think each and every radio station in Zimbabwe must broadcast nationally. And everyone, if we all have an even playing ground, then we can talk. But as long as we have Sky's Metro FM, Sky's FM broadcasting only 40 kilometers, someone in Guero cannot even tune in, or in Plumtree. Someone in Lupane cannot even tune in. So even if they play my song 100 times, it will only be heard around Bulawayo and the surroundings.
Yeah.
And I think it's not fair, especially for the young and upcoming musicians who still want to be heard, who don't have a platform and who don't have a name. Some artists like us, we also need that recognition, but our advantage is that we can go out and get our airplay outside Zimbabwe and also perform outside. What about those who are starting, who want to be played at home and who want that recognition at home? We must say go to.
Yeah. So true. And speaking to the younger generation of artists, a lot of them are doing some dance or hip hop, and this is the only way that they can make it. Would you encourage somebody to sing your kind of music or any other music that is not necessarily pop music?
I think, art is not restricted. They must do what they feel like doing. Because I cannot come and tell Enzo or someone else to change and sing in Ndebele and sing Imboya. This is what he feels and this is what he wants to do, and this is how he wants to express himself. So they should just be themselves and do what makes them happy and do what they think can bring bread.
Like what you said, if pride and Zungu, I don't know the Ndebele word for it, brings you bread and butter, you should not let it go.
Yes. You see, if it brings them bread, then they should go ahead and sing dancehall and hip hop. It's not my place to tell them what to sing and how to sing. You know what I mean? So if this is what makes them happy and this is what pays their bills, then go ahead.
Great. You're not only a musician, you're doing quite a lot of work. You're involved in voiceovers, you're involved in theater, you teach. Can you maybe describe the kind of work that you're doing apart from performing in front of? You're an organizer as well. You organize a festival and shows.
You're putting me on the spot.
We need to hear this story before. We have to hear these stories. We have to somehow hear this narrative.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes it's not easy to speak about yourself, especially.
Okay,
especially
or maybe
when
let me
shy.
open it up. In 2009, Insingizi won a gold certified gold in North America, and this certification came after your album sold more than 300,000 copies, right?
It was
It was 250,000 copies
250,000
then,
copies
right?
back then.
And now it has surpassed. It
Yes.
is now above around 300,000 copies
Around
sold by
300.
your album. And
Yes.
I'm still trying to check records and see the numbers from Zim and verify, but I'm convinced this is one of the biggest achievements that we've ever had from Zimbabwe. Tell us about that achievement. How did it come about, and what did it do to your career?
I mean, it was a surprise for us as well, because with Zimbabwean music, you don't expect those numbers. So we did our album in 2004. It was a low budget album. It got licensed to a company in the UK. They did marketing and distribution. And luckily, Walmart or Walmart
That's
in
the
the US
biggest
got hold
retail
of the
outlet.
album.
Yeah.
Yes. And so they started playing it in their shops across the US and also selling the album. The US and Canada, this is how everything happened. And 5 years later, it was certified gold. You know, this is those kind of moments where you get an email and you think maybe this email is not coming to me, maybe something's wrong. And we went to Copenhagen in Denmark at the Womex World Music Expo to receive the
That was
gold
2015, right?
disc for the albums.
2015.
Sorry?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know about the record. I don't know who sold what and who sold how many copies in Zimbabwe. Like maybe you can do your research, but this is what happened to us, and it's still something that we can not believe, but at the same time proud. And the numbers are still rising. So we hope that, in the next coming years, we will have 500,000, maybe in 20 years' time.
Congrats on that. And speaking of which, I mean, it's actually difficult to verify numbers in Zimbabwe. What do you think needs to be done? I'm asking you this because you are exposed to a system that is functional, that helps you get the verified numbers in terms of your music sales and the impact that you're making. I'll ask you the question in two parts. Why is it important for us to actually get these statistics, and what do you think needs to be done in Zimbabwe to start getting such information? Because there is nothing like that. There's no platinum except back in the days of Grama and RRTP and ZMC.
You just mentioned Grama. I remember Grama Records used to do it. And the problem now, I think, is piracy. Because there's no way you can follow sales when you have an album selling on the street
On WhatsApp.
corners. Back then, or on WhatsApp, back then, songs or records were sold like power sales and record shops and so on. I think musicians should stop sending their songs on WhatsApp for free. This is the first thing that I can tell you, because there are so many songs coming up and you get them for free on WhatsApp. And there's no way you can follow and find how many copies are sold when everything is now digital and for free. So maybe we need structures. I mean, Grama Records is still on sale. Hopefully someone will buy it and maybe get back to the old system. But with the price and how they are selling it, I don't see it happening anytime soon. Because they're selling all the catalogs are being sold as well. And for that price, I don't think it's going to happen soon. So we need a system that will regulate sales, and maybe piracy must be stopped, because, there's no way you can follow the sales if all the songs are on the street. And this is one of the things that I really appreciate doing this kind of music that we do, because it's not popular music, and it's not music that you can buy on street corners. So we are still safe on that regard, because You know, if you say in Singizi, many people will tell you, who are those guys? What do they sing? What kind of music? And it works good for us because that way we don't have our music on the streets being
But what
pirated,
of an artist?
and it's not open
What
music
if an
that you
artist
find
who
on
says,
radio.
look, I need to send my music via WhatsApp, via data file host and another distribution platforms that are for free so that I get shows, I get booked. There's no way I'm going to make money through sales. Do you think it's possible for an artist to really make money online or through legit means apart from getting live shows?
I mean, if you want to get booked, then you must send your music to the people who book shows. I think it's good. You know, we have Facebook, we have WhatsApp. We must use these platforms for our to our advantage. And if I want to send it to promoters, then I can send it to promoters. But if it's circulating on WhatsApp groups and there's not even one person who books shows, I don't think it's a good idea. But maybe at home, it works because people prefer to go and watch a show or a performance when they know the songs being performed. So maybe if it's circulating on WhatsApp groups, then it's better, it's good for that artist because when they come, they just say one word and the rest, they let the crowd sing. That, I mean, that I think it's good for that reason. But then for sales and for accountability, it won't be easy because then from record sales, how do you manage then to live if you can't sell those records? And what if you don't get booked?
Yeah.
What do you do?
You're now based in Austria for some years now. What are some of the lessons that you have learned through the years that you'd say, look, if possibly the music scene, I'm referring to it as a scene because I am convinced there's no music industry in Zimbabwe. The industry, if it's there, is still in a tuck shop form or is dysfunctional. So what do you think are some of the steps or things that will be required for us to establish a music industry in Zimbabwe?
I think the first thing, I don't know who is now responsible for Zimura, and I hope I'm not getting into trouble again. No, I don't like I don't like controversy, and I try to stay away from controversy. But I think Zimura is not doing what they're supposed to do. It's either they're not doing it or they don't know what they're supposed to do. Because artists should be paid royalties. They should get their monies. You can't have artists being played on radio, on TV, and then Zimura says we're being owed money by ZBC and whoever. And I think radio stations should pay artists their monies. This is the first thing that should be done because now they are paying, I think, in US dollars, right?
It's in Narati,
If I'm
yes.
not mistaken.
Oh, for Zimura,
To
yeah, you're
register
paying
for
me.
Zimura.
I think so. Yeah.
In order for you to be recognized, you have to pay the musicians, the artist fee. Yes. And I think people must be paid. The government or whoever responsible for royalties must pay artists their monies. And then also, like I said before, open all radio stations. Not only have 40-kilometer radius to radio stations in smaller places. It's not only Machibeleland, I said before. Vic Falls and Swingo as well in Kaniki, in Karibu, in Mutare, so that everyone has access to radio. Everyone has access to all these platforms. And, you know, this was happening before. I remember back in the day when Radio 2 was for everyone. People listen to music and
yeah.
You know, we had all musicians like Lavu Majaiva and Solomon Schools and Lux Malax. Everyone was played nationally. And I think back then, those who did not make it, didn't make it because maybe their music was not good or for some other reasons, but the platform was there for everyone. It was really umsakazo wabantu. We had Ilanga, we had, Don Kombobu Sinube. Everyone was being played. And I think that system needs to go back. We need to go back to that system whereby people choose what they want, not radios choosing what they want people.
So you think that
it must be
just to clarify on your point, you think
yes,
radio has to play a bigger part in the transformation and the construction of the music industry? You have mentioned radio and Zimura as the two main institutions.
yes,
Zimura, in terms of, for those that are not in the know,
yes,
Zimura is the body that collects revenue on behalf of artists. It regulates music content and deals with copyrights. I'll touch on copyrights a bit later. Yes. So you're saying these are the two main institutions. And what of the artists? What should we do? Because I think these institutions have been there, are there, and possibly running things the way they do. But there is a bigger critical mass, the artists. What role should they play in making sure that they are ahead and making sure that things start to transform towards the direction that will help their art grow and them sustain from it?
It's not easy. I think artists should speak with one voice, but it's not easy because some people benefit from that system that is not working well for the artists. So I think we need to speak with one voice, because I know some people are afraid to speak out. Because once you start saying things, then you will be boycotted or you won't get booked or whatever reason, I don't know. But I think artists need to speak with one voice. There must be an artist body or representative, like what happened in the last months with the women in the music industry. You spoke and women spoke, and we saw gigs going on, female musicians coming up and performing and being booked. So if we all sit down and complain all the time and do nothing about it, nothing is going to happen. So I think artists should speak with one voice, especially the Zimura issue. Imagine if all artists record and say, we don't want our music to be played. We want to be paid first, all the remaining royalties, and then play our music. There won't be any radio station. Radio stations will be there just playing adverts and nothing more. You see? So I think artists, and also quality productions, of course, we cannot run away from it. We need to have quality works so that when we complain and when we bring our music, it must be of standard. Because sometimes you hear some things on radio, unfortunately, which is really, really, really substandard. But they play it and it becomes a hit because this is what radio wants to play.
And quite interesting. Great point there. In terms of the local quota, do you feel that the local artists are getting enough space the same way that possibly the Niger music or the SA music or American hip hop and pop music is getting on radio?
No.
In Austria, do they play a lot of Zimbabwean, a lot of African, a lot of other foreign music?
A few days ago, someone said, I think it was Star FM, right? That the Star FM awards were supposed to be given to Nigerian musicians and USA and American musicians. Because you can't have a local radio station playing a lot of international music and not playing their own. There must be a balance. In France, I think now it's 75%, if I'm not mistaken. And they're playing a lot of French songs and French musicians in Germany as well and in Austria. This is why you see even major festivals, local musicians headlining their own festivals because they are known and they are played on radio. And it's only some countries like Zimbabwe where you find our musicians most of the times being opening acts all the time and not headlining our own shows, because we appreciate and value musicians from outside more than musicians from our own country. And I think radios should also, start doing that. And then they play a lot of South African music and a lot of Nigerians now. And the other problem is that some of our musicians now start to sound like Nigerians too. And this is what they hear on radio, and they think, okay, if I sound like Nigerian, maybe I'm going to be played. If I sound like my Fikizor, maybe I'm going to be played. If I sound like Chris Brown or whoever, maybe I'm going to be played. And I think it's a big problem, because then, like I said in the beginning, then we will have a lot of people copying other musicians because they want to be accepted. But then how can they go and perform in Nigeria when you sing like Davido and there is Davido and 10 more Davidos?
Impossible.
You know what I mean? It's not possible. I mean, it can be possible, but the chances are not that much, because they will take their own. Or they will take a cheaper version of their Davido before they take a Zimbabwean Davido.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Because young people will listen to that on radio and think, okay, I need to sing like this so that I get airplay. Then you find young boys in Bulawayo trying to sing now in Pidgin English or in some other language they don't even understand because they want to be accepted.
Okay. And promoters, do you think promoters, the promotion level, you also promote events, and what's your take with regard to promotion in Zimbabwe? Yeah.
I think to be honest, there are very few promoters these days. Especially in Bulawayo, many people own bars and clubs, and then they call themselves promoters because they have a space where people push their alcohol first and all the other things, their sales, and then have music
extra.
As extra. I wish that we go back to the days of JJ Promotions and the big guys who brought groups like in Baba Field Stadium, White City Stadium, City Hall, who had music and musicians performing there. And these days, I think it's more like, I mean, I don't know much in Harare, but what I see and observed mostly are the same people performing or rotating, same artists, same musicians. So maybe also, people need diversity, but promoters are business people. And if this is their zungu, then let them have their zungu
and eat from it.
You know what I mean? Because they invest, I mean, to be fair, they invest money in this and they're in it for business and not to make us happy. And if they get their money, who are we to tell them how to run their business? We can only hope and wish that they try to have also a little heart and promote authentic music and good music. But they will tell you, I'm in this for business and this is my business. You know what I mean? And I think it's different from other countries, because in other countries, it's not, it's business, yes, but you have festivals that have it on their contracts or on their websites. They want live music and they don't accept any playback or anything, and they won't change. I was in Uganda a few years ago at Baemba Festival. Yes, and they played only live music. I mean, they had bongo flavor, very famous musicians who could fill the whole festival ground within 5 minutes. but they never performed at that festival because they were all playback. Most of them studio musicians, not performing artists. And they stick to their plan because, you know, if you start changing things and say it's not a popularity contest, it's a music festival.
And you just mentioned the issue of playbacks. We see a lot of artists now, they have resorted to a cheaper performance route. They don't use live bands. The very few that use live bands are possibly doing jazz and other music genres. Well, what's your take on that? Do you think this is viable and sustainable for an artist to just have one skill to be able to sing on the microphone, and apart from that, they're not able to perform, to play an instrument, or to actually have a live band backing them? What are the trends like?
You know, I have observed some musicians at home, artists at home. I think there's a big difference between a recording artist and a performing artist. There are some people who are very good recording artists, thanks to auto-tune and all these other
Sing for
things
them.
that are now available. Yes, but then you put them on a live stage. People know the songs and they sing along, and everything is good. But take the same person and put them on a live stage where no one knows their songs. This is going to be a big problem. Because then, you know, if you sing off key and no one knows what you are singing, and no one has ever heard your song, then you have a big problem. But if you come to Harare and you sing off key and everyone sings along, I almost sang along now, so I almost sang one song. So if you come there and sing
song?
off key and everyone sings along.
No, I was saying, which song?
No, I'm not. I don't want to go in trouble. I almost saying that. I mean, you come on stage and you sing off key and everyone sings along, and you go online and you have more than 1,000 people all saying wow. You see, this is a big problem because you put the same person now on a stage where no one knows who they are and has never heard their song. This can be a big problem. So this is why some festivals don't even book musicians who do playback, or I mean, don't use live bands. I mean, in our festival also we book only live music. This is why we had Mukumba, and this year we're having Black Mambazo is coming, and Nkwali is coming, and many other musicians from. We have Bombino from Niger is coming. Prince Zeka from Congo, and they're all playing live. And it's unfortunate that, I mean, this year we don't have anyone from Zimbabwe. The last person that came from Zimbabwe, Nkwali is from Zimbabwe, yes. Chiwoneso was there because she, you know, she played with a live band, and amazing band. I mean, there's one artist just released an album. Wonderful album.
That must be Willis Watafi.
Yes. I listened to the album. Amazing stuff.
You think it's one of the best projects this year? That's what I think.
And that album will go places. I hope that his management is good.
I hope so too.
Because that album, you can give it to anyone around the world without even thinking twice. In the songwriting, the arrangements, the mixing, mastering, it's just an amazing album. Makes me proud. Very proud to be Zimbabwean.
And I also like what Willis did there. I mean, he touched on very, very important social, economic, political issues, but in a very, very artistic and creative way. And he also plays around the issues of language. You know, he sings like in three different languages, but then brings in quite a feel, to the whole album, which when I listened to it, I got this Tuku nostalgia, yeah. So I think it's a brilliant project, and I definitely hope that it will get as much airplay and support from home as much as possible. Yeah.
I hope so too. I hope so too. Because like I said, the songwriting is amazing. The arrangements, the whole album is just well done.
Great.
It was really well done. And there's a young man also from Bulawayo, Mrs. K.
I saw him at the NAMA Awards.
Really cool. Yes, cool songwriting, cool album. I think 16 songs. And these two albums at the moment are one of my favorites because, you listen to music and you think, okay, this is music. This is songwriting. It makes me really happy to see that people are still taking their time to compose music and write music because, these days you have one or two words, you go and speak in front of the microphone, that's it.
Auto-tune does the rest.
And it's really sad for the music. And then they tell you, find you something, and then that's it.
On that note, mind your tools, mind your vocals.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had to say.
When you wake up tomorrow, there will be a song already done. This song. How fast they make music. It's like instant noodles. It's like microwave. You just put it on 2-3 minutes, and then the next minute is done. It's already on the street, and the next minute the promoter sees you. You're buzzing online. You're performing. You're already on your next flight to UK. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
True.
So now you've mentioned a couple of artists. Are those the artists that you'd say these are the artists to look forward to, or you also have other artists that at the back of your head you like, if these 2-3 artists are to get the kind of good management, the resources that they possibly need, they could follow suit some of the footsteps that you've walked?
There are many. Like I said, at the moment, I'm listening to, Willis's album, and CSK, and then we have Seagirl. Seagirl is also amazing. And Begazela, just won a Summer Award, also amazing. Then we have Massa. Caroline Massa, yes. And who else? Carmen.
I don't know. No, I don't know.
I don't know if you know. Check it out. Great singer, songwriter from Bulawayo, but based in Harare. I think at the moment based in Mauritius. There's so many musicians, who are doing amazing things, but they're not on the mainstream because they are not, like I said, Zim dancehall or hip hop. Like really songwriters, people take their time to sit down and compose and write music. And I think if they are given a fair platform, Chase Marabini, always, and then give them a fair platform, like everyone else, I think they can go places.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know if there's something that you left out that I wanted us to touch on so many things, but I feel possibly maybe we need to have another one because there's quite a lot of stuff that I think artists would need to learn from you. Is there something in your heart that you feel like, I wanted to say this?
And then there's another band I forgot, I-Tribe. It's a young band with the
Wow. And I watched him last year at the Bulawayo Arts Awards in Bulawayo. It was, he's awesome.
Yes.
I saw his clip last week. He was performing at Miombo Magic. yeah, he's
Mhm. Talking of that, then who else? From Bulawayo. I just forgot the name now. But they were also at the
okay.
music festival. Not the I
Djembe
tribe,
Monks.
but they mix. Thank you very much, Djembe Monks. Djembe Monks. And I wonder why they're not nominated in any of the awards at home till now. But I hope soon they will be mentioned and nominated.
I hope so too. On a lighter note, I mean, like, we know of your skits before. Were those skits, or it was just you being you from back then? Now you are the king of memes. Like, I don't know where you get these pictures from. Do you make them? Are you a Photoshop specialist?
You know, it's a you can't be serious all the time. No, there are a lot of things that I do, like music and working on film, like the song that you played
Yeah.
in the beginning. It's a song from a film, a German Kenyan film that was nominated for an Academy Award, short film category, 2018. So I did the main soundtrack for the song. I mean, it's a sad story. And sometimes after working on such a project, you just need to lighten up and have fun. And this is my other side, it's more like the team Bulawayo is always was good for me to balance things up and just have fun and also make people laugh a little bit. And also the memes. Sometimes, after working hard and doing other things, you just want to lighten up and have fun. And at the moment, I'm working on an animation film, music for an animation film. It's so much fun because it's in 5
Great.
episodes, and the first episode just finished. So it's fun because that way I don't have to do any skits or any memes after it because it's fun already and I'm laughing all the time. So I don't need to balance anything. So sometimes it's good. People see me on Facebook having fun and all the memes and think, this guy. And some people got to know me from Timbulawayo and they thought this was
And
the
is
only thing that I
Timbulawayo
do
still alive, or is
because it's not.
it's a closed chapter?
It's still alive. It is still alive, but we are busy with other things. Like I say, Future is busy. Is performing at theater, doing musicals and theater productions, and so Timbulawayo, is a hobby, and it's still alive. But we are busy with other projects right now, so we just thought we give people a little break, but we're still there and we will be bringing Aklisha and other fun videos
Awesome. We
again
look forward to
soon.
that. Definitely look forward to that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
before I let you go, you spoke about doing film
Yeah.
scores for
Yes.
an artist, for someone in Zimbabwe. It's possibly a new thing that they might not be so familiar with. What does this involve? Do you make the sound? Because I remember when I moved here to Flensburg and I was working for one theater, I came across a brochure and I'm reading it for a film festival and I see your name there, and I'm like, wow, what does this involve, making the score?
It involves, I mean, it involves many things. Depends on what what role you play
Yeah.
in the scoring. Sometimes you are called to come in and the music is ready if they have a music supervisor. And sometimes, like now on this animation film, I am the music supervisor and at the same time composing music for the film. So I have all I mean, umsebenzi wonke ngowami, because you have to think of the sounds and every sound that you hear on the film. is part of the scoring and the music. And sometimes you work with an orchestra, so you have also to, you must also have a bit of understanding of reading and writing or composing, reading sheet music, because if you're playing with an orchestra, then it will be hard for you to function if you can't read and write music, unless you have a very, very patient music supervisor who can work with you. But must have a good ear for music, and also just the basic knowledge of music theory.
So it's important
helps.
for artists to go to school.
I see some. It is very important. It is very important, depending on what you want to do. But if you want to work with other musicians who are not doing your genre of music and who are not from your own country, it's very important, because then it makes everything easy. People don't have time out there. You come to a project and they give you the notes and say, these are the notes and this is what we're doing. And now they will have to teach you and give you someone who understands, because you can't even read and write notes. So it's easy and convenient if you can at least know what a violin key is, and just the basics. You don't need to know all the things, but just the basics.
Oh, great. And I just want to say thank you so much for such a profound
Thank you.
interview. It was also a learning experience for me as well. I learned a lot. And I think there is a whole lot that we've not exhausted, but definitely for another day and another day, we can schedule and organize and see if we can do one. What is the last word to your fans and also to fellow artists?
Yeah, like you said, there's a whole lot that we could have spoken about, but I don't like controversy, and some things, you want to say, but you don't want to put yourself in on the spotlight. And I hope that one day we can talk more. My message, I don't call people fans. I mean, they're my friends, not fans, but friends. And I think you should just continue supporting good music. And to other artists, not upcoming, but any artist, because as long as you're an artist, you are already, for me, you're not upcoming, you're an artist already. Just be yourself. Just be yourself and do what makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Don't follow trends. Don't follow trends. Just do what makes you feel good. Write music, perform, go out there and be yourself. And get paid for it. Name your price.
So it's important for an artist not to do anything for free and to create value and also get value in return.
Not all the time. Sometimes it's good to do some things for free because you're promoting yourself, but then you have to know when to stop. Because, some people like to take advantage and say, it's promotion, it's good for you, you're promoting yourself. You cannot promote yourself to the grave. You have to know when to stop. But it's always good to name your price and know what value and stand your ground. And mind your hookers.
EarGround Radio.
Okay.
New voices.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Mkhaya.
Bye. That was it. That was Vusa Mkhaya. Very interesting interview there. Profound indeed, I must say. I learned quite a lot of things, and I trust and I hope that you also learned something. I was not able to read out and respond some of the questions there because we had planned quite a lot of stuff that I wanted to discuss, but we're not able to talk about everything. And we hope to do another session maybe a month from now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate